Today, we're diving deep into a topic that's incredibly personal for me, burnout. But more importantly, we'll talk about the journey from burnout to realignment and how crucial it is to listen to your gut in business and in life. If you've ever felt disconnected from your work, overwhelmed, or like you're running on empty, this episode is for you. I'll be sharing my own experience of hitting burnout, losing touch with my purpose, and how I slowly found my way by embracing change, setting boundaries, and learning to trust my intuition again. When I first launched EmpowHERed, my wellness brand, I had a vision, but it wasn't fully fleshed out. I knew I wanted to help people bringing clarity and peace into their homes through practices of self-love. I saw my skincare products as a form of meditation, a way to slow down and connect with yourself. But beyond that, I didn't have a solid plan for where I wanted to take the business. Because I didn't have a clear mission from the beginning, I found myself being pulled into different directions. Sometimes the brand felt like it was leading me to places that didn't align with my deeper purpose. And here's the thing, if you don't have a strong guiding mission, it's very easy to get tempted by opportunities don't serve you. Money can be a very strong force, and there were times I took on projects or easy deals that didn't align with the vision I had for EmpowHERed, simply because they were lucrative. There were moments when I found myself producing huge batches of products for big companies that were completely disconnected from the niche I had set to serve. It was draining, and even though the business was successful, quote unquote, on paper, it felt like I was losing myself in the process. I was so focused on being the super successful female entrepreneur, the perfect mother who had it all together, that I didn't realize how far off course I had gone. And then guess what? Burnout hit me hard. Burnout doesn't happen overnight. It's a slow, creeping process. I didn't see it coming until I was right in the middle of it. I was working long hours, feeling completely disconnected from my brand, my kids, and myself. I was so tired, so uninspired, that I started to feel like a chicken with its head cut off, just running around aimlessly. It was the most awful feeling. I felt like I was stuck in a loop of endless tasks, producing products, managing orders, attending meetings, handling marketing, all while trying to be there for my kids. I was exhausted, uninspired, and frustrated. I couldn't understand how I had gotten to this point. I had started EmpowHERed with such a clear intention to create products that fostered self-care and wellness, yet somehow I had let the business consume me. I wasn't living the values I was promoting. I wasn't taking care of myself. I was just surviving. Then life threw me an even bigger curveball. My husband received an incredible opportunity to move to Paris for 2 years. It was exciting for him, but for me, it meant being left in Athens, raising our 2 young children who were just 4 and 2 years old at the time. I was completely overwhelmed at the thought of handling it all by my own, managing the business, running the household, and being a full-time mom without my partner by my side. I remember thinking to myself, how am I supposed to pull this off? The idea of being on my own while juggling my business and our kids seemed impossible. The fear and doubt started to creep in. I questioned everything, my ability to manage, my strength to get through it, and whether I was capable of keeping it all together. But love in a relationship means supporting each other through the challenges, even when it feels like too much. He had supported me through my early days, difficult days, when I was building EmpowHERed, when we were both trying to figure out how to make it work. He was my rock when I felt unsure and insecure, and now it was my turn to step up and support his career, even if it meant doing something that scared me to my core. On the surface, I kept telling myself I could do it. I kept saying, "You're strong, you'll figure it out." But inside, I was terrified. The exhaustion for my business, combined with a new responsibility of handling everything at home, was wearing me down. There were days when I would look at my kids and feel like I wasn't fully present for them. I was always thinking about the next thing I had to do for work or how I was going to manage the next task on my never-ending list. I felt like I was falling short everywhere, both as a mother and as a business owner. The guilt was overwhelming. I couldn't be the mother I wanted to be. I was so wrapped up in work and I couldn't fully focus on my business because my kids needed me. I was stretched so thin that I didn't know how much longer I could keep on that pace. Emotionally, I was drained. There were nights when I'd put the kids to bed and just sit there in silence, trying to find some sort of peace. My mind never shut off. I was constantly thinking about what I wasn't doing, what I was falling behind on, and how I wasn't measuring up in either role. I was disconnected from everything that mattered to me. I wasn't present for my kids, I wasn't connected to my business, and most importantly, I wasn't connected to myself. As much as I tried to keep everything together, the cracks were starting to show. I could feel the burnout in my body, in my mind, in my spirit. But I kept pushing. I told myself, this is just what it takes to be successful. This is what a working mother looks like. But deep down, I knew something had to give. I couldn't keep going at this pace without losing a part of myself. One Sunday morning, I woke up determined to be the supermom who could do it all. I had this image of the perfect day in my head, and I was going to make it happen no matter how exhausted I already felt. I prepared a healthy breakfast for my kids, avoiding screen like I always tried to, and poured whatever energy I had to keep them engaged. We were going to have a full day, first picnic in the park and then a trip to the theater. I remember sitting there during the show, watching my kids but feeling completely disconnected. That was piling up and tasks I hadn't crossed off my list. I was utterly drained, but I kept on pushing. And then I started thinking about our upcoming trip to Paris. What once felt like a beautiful escape had now become another source of exhaustion. The thought of traveling, managing the kids, and balancing it all felt overwhelming. Yet, I still kept pushing, believing that I had everything for everyone. That night, when finally I got home, something happened. I sat down and suddenly I couldn't see out of my left eye. My vision was blurred and any light around me felt unbearable. I had developed photophobia, and the pain was terrifying. I called my brother asking him to come over to watch the kids, and my sister-in-law rushed me to the ER. When we got there, the doctors told me I had a swollen nerve in my optic nerve, a serious inflammation. I had to go through multiple rounds of MRI and other tests. For an entire month, I was in and out of the hospital, going through different exams, trying to figure out what was wrong. The doctors couldn't find a clear cause. There was no clinical explanation for why this was happening to me. I remember that my fear was so big that I couldn't show up for my kids anymore. I was so worried, I even thought that my life was coming to an end. Finally, after spending fortunes, they told me it was an autoimmune related. I was physically falling apart and the stress had manifested in my body in ways I hadn't even imagined. I started alternative treatments, including homeopathy, to manage the inflammation. But while the medical side of things was confusing, the emotional side was clear. I had hit total burnout. My body had been sending me signals for a long time, and I had ignored every one of them until I couldn't anymore. That experience forced me to confront the reality I had been avoiding. I couldn't keep doing it all. I couldn't be everything to everyone without completely sacrificing my own health and well-being. My body was reacting to this constant pressure I was putting on myself. And now it was shutting down. It wasn't just the long hours at work or the endless to-do list. It was the emotional weight trying to be the perfect mother, wife, and businesswoman. I had spent so many times worrying about what I hadn't done that I never gave myself credit for what I was doing. The energy I was giving to everyone else left nothing for myself, and eventually my body gave up. The wake-up call was so harsh but necessary. I realized that I had to stop pushing myself beyond my limits, that I needed to slow down and set real boundaries, not just with my work, but with my expectations of myself. I had been running on empty for too long, and now it was time to refill my cup. It became clear to me that if I didn't take care of myself physically, emotionally, and mentally, I wouldn't be able to take care of anyone else, including my kids. That month was a turning point. It wasn't just about recovering from the physical symptoms. It was about rediscovering balance and learning to listen to my body. It taught me that burnout isn't just about overworking. It's about the emotional pressure of trying to be everything to everyone, of constantly giving without replenishing. I realized that the most important thing I could do for my family, my business, and myself was to slow down, set boundaries, and realign with what truly mattered to me. Today, I'm still working on that balance. I'm still learning to say no, to slow down, and to be present for myself as much as I am for others. It's a journey, but I've learned that if I don't listen to myself, if I don't trust my gut and give myself space to rest, there's no way I can keep on going in a healthy, sustainable way. Burnout was my body's way to say that something had to change, and I'm grateful for that wake-up call because it forced me to take a hard look at the life I was living. Now I'm committed to creating a life and business that aligns with my purpose without sacrificing my health or my happiness in the process. As I started to grow out of burnout, I realized something profound. If you want to build a meaningful life, you have to ask yourself if what you're building truly aligns with the life you want to live. This realization hit me hard because as a mother of two, and maybe more children in the future, who knows, it's absolutely essential that what I do with my time is in complete alignment with who I am and what I value. So long I was pushing forward without really asking myself if my work was aligning with the life I envisioned for myself. It was easy to get caught up in the hustle, in the idea of constant growing, expanding, and achieving more. But as a mom, it became clear that alignment wasn't just a nice concept. It is a necessity. I had to ask myself, is what I'm doing in line with the life I want to live? Is the way I'm working sustainable for me as a mother, a wife, and an individual? The answers weren't always easy to face, but they were necessary. I began to realize that the way I work isn't a constant hustle. I work in high, intense bursts, and then I need time to cave to recharge my energy. It was a pattern I didn't recognize until I started to educate myself better as an entrepreneur, and I learned about my human design type. This was a huge turning point for me, and I highly recommend you try taking the human design quiz. It helped me understand myself better and gave me permission to work in a way that feels more natural instead of forcing myself into a mold that wasn't meant for me. Knowing yourself, your strengths, your energy levels, your natural rhythms will allow you to build a brand and a life that is in perfect alignment with your purpose, your time, and the returns you want to see. You can't face alignment. It has to flow naturally, but from an understanding of who you are. For me, this realization has shifted everything. I now know that my systems and the way I run my business need to be aligned with the life I want to live as a mother. I need to be able to return home before my kids finish school, to be there for them when they need me, and to spend time with them on weekends and summers. This means I've had to rethink how I structure my business. I'm no longer running it in a way that drains me or keeps me working nonstop. Instead, I'm creating systems that allow me to work smarter, not harder. I'm finding new paths to streamline processes so that I can have the freedom to step away when I need to without everything falling apart. This isn't just about balance, it's about designing a business and a life that work together, not against each other. So I want you to ask yourself the same question I had to face. Is what you're doing aligned with the life you want to live? Is your work truly in harmony with how you envision yourself and your future? If the answer is no, or if you feel disconnected from your purpose, it's time to realign. Building a life in alignment with your values and your true self will allow you to thrive, not just in business, but in every aspect of your life. For me, currently, I'm working hard to create systems that support the life I want, a life where I'm present for my kids and fulfilled in my work. And as I continue this journey, I'm learning that when you work in alignment with who you truly are, everything falls into place. It's not about having it all figured out. I'm still figuring it out myself. But what I know for sure is that building something meaningful, something that lasts, starts with knowing who you are and honoring that in everything you do. So take a moment to check in with yourself. Your intuition will guide you toward the life and business that are in perfect alignment with you. I know this might sound a little woo-woo, some of you, and you might doubt the whole thing that I'm saying, thinking, but I have a job and it's making me money and life just works. But allow me to share something that has really helped me in understanding myself and therefore my vision for both my life and my business, the teachings of Joe Dispenza. His approach to quantum physics and how our thoughts shape our reality has been a game changer for me, and I want to explain his method in simple terms because they've truly transformed the way I approach everything I do. Dr. Joe Dispenza is a neuroscientist and lecturer who has dedicated much of his life to understanding how our thoughts, feelings, and beliefs shape our reality. He's known for teaching how quantum physics can be used to rewire the brain and transform your life by creating new mental and emotional patterns. Dispenza believes that we have the power to change our personal reality by first changing our internal state, our thoughts, emotions, and beliefs. In simple words, the thoughts we think combined with the emotions we feel create an energy that affects our lives. He often explains that if you're constantly thinking about stress, fear, or self-doubt, your body will react to those thoughts and you'll end up reinforcing those negative patterns in your life. Essentially, your body will become addicted to the emotions you repeatedly feel and you'll stay stuck in these cycles. So essentially, what he's saying is that we can consciously choose to think differently, to feel differently, and to create a new state of being that aligns with the life you want to live. So one of the practices that has really helped me is starting to become aware of my thoughts, in a daily basis? Are they supportive or limiting? If you notice negative thoughts creeping in, gently shift them to more positive, empowering ones. It's not about forcing yourself to be positive all the time. It's about retaining your mind and supporting the life you want to create. One of the core practices in Joe Dispenza's teaching is meditation. He emphasizes the importance of taking time to disconnect from the outer world to focus inward. During meditation, Dispenza encourages to visualize the life you want to live, not just as an idea, but as if it's already happening. He teaches us that when you combine a clear intention, what you want, with an elevated emotion, how it feels to have it, you create a powerful signal that attracts those experiences into your life. For example, if you want to build a successful business that aligns with who you are, Dispenza suggests spending time each day in meditation, visualizing yourself already living that reality. Feel the emotions of success, joy, freedom, and fulfillment as if they're already present in your life. This practice trains your brain and body to believe that the reality is possible. If you want to change your life, you have to break the habit of being yourself. This means letting go of old patterns, thoughts, and behavior that no longer serve you. Most of us live in a cycle of repeating the same thoughts and actions every day, which means we end up creating the same reality over and over again. To create a new future, you need to start thinking and acting in new ways. This means becoming aware of your automatic reactions, your limiting beliefs, and your habitual behaviors, and then consciously choosing to respond differently. It's about reprogramming mind and body to align with the person you want to become. One thing that is very important is living in the present moment. Most of us spend our days dwelling on the past and worrying about the future, but true transformation happens when you're fully present. You might be wondering, how does this connect with building a business or finding alignment in my life? The answer is simple. The more you understand yourself, the more you align your thoughts and emotions with the life you want to create, the more you'll be able to build a brand that reflects who you truly are. Joe Dispenza's methods have helped me reconnect with my intuition, let go of limiting beliefs, and start building a business that feels authentic and aligned with my values. By tapping into these practices, you can begin to clear away the noise, reconnect with your true purpose, and create a business and life that reflect your higher self. It's not about chasing external success. It's about transforming yourself from inside out so that everything you build is true reflection to your soul's journey. Embrace the woo-woo, because in my experience, it's often where the real magic happens. Take time to meditate, visualize, and break free from old patterns that no longer serve you. These practices will guide you toward building a business that aligns with your deeper purpose, because if you don't, burnout is inevitable. And the hard truth, most chances are you won't make it through without truly aligning your work with who you are. By connecting with yourself first, you'll create something sustainable, fulfilling, and lasting. Because running your business is not the easy way. It takes every bit of energy, focus, and resilience you have. And without true alignment, the chances of making it through are slim. Align your work with who you are so you'll build something that not only thrives, but fulfills you. Thank you so much for joining me in today's episode. I hope these insights into alignment, self-discovery, and Joe Dispenza's methods have resonated with you as much as they have with me. Remember, running a business is not an easy feat. It requires every ounce of your energy and passion. Trust your intuition and be open to breaking free from old patterns that no longer serve you. If you're in alignment, you won't just survive the journey, you'll thrive. If you found this episode helpful, please subscribe, share it with someone who might need to hear this, and leave a comment. Let's continue building this community of empowerment entrepreneurs together. Until next time, remember to trust your gut, take care of yourself, and keep building a life and business that truly reflects who you are. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode of EmpowHERed. See you soon.